Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a Chakras and Cuss Words podcast. My name is Catherine, and I am your host. Today, we are going to get into the magic, the area of intention and movement of this vibracious cardinal sign. We are getting into this new moon partial solar eclipse energy. So this new moon partial solar eclipse is occurring on March 29th of 2025, and it's happening around 6:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I am going off of the chart from Astrology Cafe or Cafe Astrology for anybody who wants to look it up. There's definitely some dynamic movement in this chart. As I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, not only will the sun be at 9 degrees, but so will the moon, creating this eclipse that is occurring with some energy of movement all around the universe, all around the areas of atmosphere that might feel a little bit, I'm almost feeling like it's going to feel like a little bit of a spontaneous action, and a little bit of a fiery placement may occur during this time as we have this new moon energy. And it is eclipse season, and everybody has their opinions on what to do with eclipses, and we're going to do what we do. And that's basically, we're going to do a little bit of reflection, and we're also going to do a little bit of movement, of silent intentions and awareness. So this this a partial solar eclipse is occurring at 9 degrees, and it is the final and the most powerful of this Aries and Libra eclipse cycle that has been occurring since 2023. And if you could take back, kind of remember where you were back in 2023 during springtime, this might bring up some of that old energy, that old areas of reflection. Some of that movement might come a little bit more, I guess you could say, to surface. And what's interesting is I can never remember what I was doing back then. I tell everybody else to take time and reflect, and I'm thinking, what the fuck was I doing back then? The effects of this eclipse will resonate anywhere from about 6 months to onward areas. And it brings up some areas of long-term change and even possibly some areas of challenges, especially related to the area of authentic nature and authority and our own personal courage. That self-assertion and assessment in our areas of independence might kind of come back up, and we might have to do a little bit of a reflective or even a center on creating intentions for this eclipse. And I do like getting into shadow work during eclipses and during areas of eclipse season, as we currently have Venus retrograde in Pisces, which will just switch over literally on March 27th. But we also have that area of Mercury being retrograde in, I believe it is in Aries, or will it be in Pisces? It will actually be in Aries. So a similar area of movement of these eclipses has already occurred. So back on March 29th of 2006, talk about taking a blast from the past, it was nearly the same degree. So it's interesting to kind of like look up some of the big events that may have occurred during this time to see what was similar with that. And before that, we see this eclipse movement did occur very similar again on March 29th of 1987. So there's definitely been some recent cycles with this eclipse season of this Aries and Libra eclipse combo, and it has a lot of meaning, right? And we see a lot of these themes getting stirred back up, or as some might say, unfinished business. And this is kind of why a lot of astrologers don't like too many deep areas of manifestation or areas of intention setting, because the eclipses tend to kind of have that energy come back up from a long period. It's not something that just like happens right away. Also with the eclipses is during this time, there is this energy of relationships kind of taking, I guess you could say, its presence, especially with this one, because this one is with Aries. And then also we have that movement that makes us want to be a little bit more centered around our assertiveness and even our self-empowerment and our independence. So that might have some areas that could bring up some challenges in certain relationships, as we also have that Venus retrograde. We want to look at areas of where we can create our own personal courage and where we can create our own personal style, and our areas of self-resilience that feels more aligned into the area of self, while also acknowledging that partnership of a relationship or even a commitment. It is definitely like a pivotal movement where a lot of us will be like sugarcoating shit. And that's kind of like how the Aries is. The Aries doesn't really sugarcoat anything. They're a little centered on self, and some of us might feel that center of resignation coming full center with our own area. And it might also be a time that we get a little bit more bold than what we're used to. And we have that area of boldness kind of speak in volumes, where it may feel like the universe is nudging us to see what is fully aligned with us and what is not actually fully aligned with us. So I definitely think that there will be some relationships ending during this time, and it might feel like a little bit of a challenge, and it might even feel a little bit centered around the overall soul having a huge transformation, or as one might say, the overall area of self might having a huge transformation. Endings and transformation, it's nothing we can dodge and completely move away from. It's part of the cycle of life. But ultimately, transformation and closing certain chapters and moving past certain situations is what is kind of our area of growth. And in spring, we tend to grow. Sometimes we're forced to grow, and sometimes we grow willingly. So it's really about how do we handle this situation. Also, we have to take time to remember that Aries is like the trailblazer of the zodiacs. It is like the cardinal sign of all cardinal signs. Definitely check out the podcast about Aries that I released last week. And it is centered around that area of confidence and that spontaneous action that most of us might be sometimes hiding, or we feel a little bit too self-aware to show it. And sometimes we have to show that confidence. We have to show that movement of action. And under this eclipse, it might be time that we get centered in creating those bold steps towards new beginnings, especially if we aren't feeling appreciated or we aren't feeling valued. So really, without hesitation, it's time to make those independent and also self-sufficient moves that allows us to grow into that area of destiny and into the area of alignment that feels most authentic with ourselves. And since the Aries, like many other zodiacs, like many of us, learns through life experiences, this eclipse pushes us to stop overthinking and to actually start creating those action plans and start doing those things that we've been thinking about instead of putting them off. What's also interesting about this eclipse and about this energy is we also have to remember that we have the Mercury retrograde occurring, and this retrograde is actually aligned in the movement of creating action and also clarity, but it could also feel a little bit unbalanced. It could also feel a little bit wishy-washy. Even though we might be seeing those energies from the past, from 2023 and the other dates that I gave, kind of reinitiate one more time, it's also centered around us having that area of strong, not just clarity, but also strong awareness that is centered around our own personal space, as it is allied with the energy of the Aries. But sometimes when the energies from the past reoccur, we may feel that energy of everything that we worked hard on, or everything that we put movement to in the past, kind of feel that uncomfortable feeling again, that discomfort, that area of restlessness, that area of arguments, or that area of where it is now that we seek more change, because the clarity, the wisdom, and the area of movement is starting to kind of rile us back up, or get us centered in creating more intentions around different movements or different transformation. Also, I think during this time, it is a good time to actually work with this eclipse. In some ways, right? We have to remember that not only are we having that Venus retrograde occurring in Pisces, but during this time, Venus conjuncts Neptune in Pisces, and we also have that Pisces energy aligned with the North Node. So our clarity and our visions might be feeling a little woo-woo and a little bit less logical, especially around areas of relationships. And with this Venus conjuncts Neptune in Pisces, it is really like dreamy, and it is very kind of like a little bit naive, and sometimes could be seen as a little bit passive. So it might feel like a push and pull effect, especially as this eclipse is occurring in such a individual sign like Aries. So this alignment between Venus, which is about love, beauty, and values, and Neptune, where we are centered around dreams, illusions, and also spirituality, happens in a deep mystical area, as eclipse season is right here, and we have this eclipse. So this layer kind of romanticizes, and it creates this area of idealism that otherwise might feel more bold. So we might have some conflict with that push-pull effect. So how can we work with this energy, right? And how is this energy going to manifest with us? Well, during this time, we might have heightened intuition, and also what some might say like psychic downloads or psychic sensitivity, especially with Neptune's influence. So our gut feelings, our intuition, the butterflies in our stomach might feel very strong. And sometimes you'll be like, but this isn't making sense because I don't see the reality behind it, but I do feel what I'm feeling, and I do see in some ways as visions of what I'm feeling. So it is definitely known as the rose-colored glasses, right? Kind of getting a little bit of awareness, and that area of our mind playing tricks on us might be coming up for some people, especially with the rose-colored glasses in areas of love and money. We may feel deeply romantic with somebody from the past, somebody who has energies of idealistic change or areas of transformation, but really it is an energy of deception, and it could also be an energy of illusions, especially if you don't feel that area of authenticness that comes behind that movement. And that would be definitely a time that you would have to reflect on that, and you would have to definitely take some time to really have some more awareness, because this Mercury retrograde, the area of Venus conjuncts Neptune in Pisces, the eclipses are all kind of creating the shadow on the area of our own space, of our own beliefs, and our own movement. So there's definitely a time that we can use this crazy movement to our benefit. So while we might be having areas of psychic downloads or a little bit of more deception or a little bit more of illusions or areas of movement, we're going to want to still use it on creating some areas of inspiration in a creative place. So I would definitely get centered with creating areas of powerful, maybe like powerful creative projects, if that's drawing, if that is writing in your dream journal, or writing out new spells, writing out areas of movement where it feels very kind of woo-woo, not reality based, and having time to really use that energy of the Venus conjuncts Neptune in Pisces, kind of making us feel more influenced and letting us feel more aligned with our spiritual presence that isn't really centered around the everyday life and our everyday idealist notions. So it is kind of like a I guess you could say like a hazy time. Like it feels like we did a little bit of way too much acid or maybe you were microdosing way too much, and now you kind of have to use this energy to come back to reality. And like I say, I do not promote any microdosing or any of those things, but it could feel almost like a trippy vibe, especially with this energy that's going around. And I personally feel like sometimes we are living in such a trippy environment, such a trippy time, that we honestly don't need any extra substances. That reality is its own energy enough, right? So we're going to want to definitely take time to meditate, get aligned with self. Also, we're going to see that people might be using that escapism and that area of feeling a little bit overly emotional, overwhelmed, or feeling that energy of movement kind of making them not make the best choices. So be mindful. Also, be mindful of avoiding certain situations that feel way too convoluted, and also be mindful to avoid certain substances and also unhealthy attachments, including toxic relationships or relationships that are filled with distrust and also lies during this time. And with this energy, like I said, it is really like a push-pull. We have the clash of Aries and Pisces energy, and it's coming full forward. While the Aries wants the action, the area of Neptune in Pisces and Venus in Pisces, being naive and in love, being naive at, I guess you could say, the vibe. It's like, don't kill my vibe, but sometimes your vibe is a little bit of a paradox, right? The vibe is a little bit too much. The vibe isn't really reality based, that it almost feels like there could be the center where people are having a hard time seeing what it is fully and seeing what it is centered around this cosmic paradox. The eclipse wants you to step up and be bold and take action, but also the Venus in Neptune says, like, feel it deep in your soul, trust divine timing, and surrender to love and creativity. I want you to do like a combination of both. I want you to really kind of balance it out. And sometimes balancing out two such explosive and also subtle energies of the area of whimsical reality of self and also the spiritual identity of the universe kind of feels challenging. And this means that your desires and your reality might feel a little bit mismatched, and that's okay, because we are always kind of torn between the two worlds. We are always kind of torn between the multiple dimensions of reality and also the area of the multi dimensions of the universe. So you're going to want to take that area of taking a leap of faith versus waiting for clarity. And we're going to see that this notion is going to kind of come up. What I want you to do is really weigh out that area of obstacles and challenges and also benefits, especially if you are going through some things. Also, it is a time that we are going to look at how being direct could also mean that we could be compassionate at the same time. It is a mixed match. It's a polarity of two completely different types of energy being very, in some ways, very strong and very aggressive. So we're going to remember that while we are closing certain chapters and we are chasing certain dreams and we are choosing certain passions, we also want to balance out these two energies of reality and also the area of the mystic. Also, some of the key things that we're really going to want to acknowledge is dream big, like the Pisces wants us to, right? Like the Neptune and Pisces wants us to, but also keep our energy and our feet still on the ground, right? Still be present here on earth, still be present with the area of reality, and still be present in the area of everyday. Let yourself envision the beautiful future, envision the area of cosmic connection, if that's through meditation, if that is through breath work, if that is through art, if that is through creative projects, whatever it is. But you also don't want to ignore some of the red flags and some of the areas of mistrust and unalignment that could occur during this time. So definitely still trust your intuition and trust your thought process, but also trust that area of self. And we have to remember that the truth lies somewhere in between the middle. Unfortunately, it's not always so black and white, and it's not always so seen. That sometimes the truth is something that we will never fully know, but as long as we trust what we know and trust our own clarity, we will have some area of resilience and some area of movement. Also, we want to embrace our own spiritual awakening and embrace the area of collectiveness that we feel with not only ourselves, but also with the people around us. During this time, like I said before, the illusions, the area of romantic idealism might be at an all-time high. That area of financial and fantasies might be feeling a little bit very turbulent, as so many people are really going through hard times right now. So definitely take this time to be centered around the area of not avoiding escapism, right? Or avoiding escapism to the point where it's unreality based. So you're also going to want to make sure your coping skills are a little bit down packed, because it will be so easy to kind of fall into that false narrative of escaping. And while you're escaping the reality, you tend to create more obstacles and challenges, especially during eclipse season. And while this eclipse has so many different energies and so much area of movement, it almost feels like a fate of passion and vision, right? That energy of the eclipse, the solar eclipse in Aries, is asking us to take new paths, while the Venus and Neptune in Pisces urges us to trust the unseen and the unknown. It's time to take that area of deep transformation and also spiritual awakening to an area that feels right with you, in creating areas of self-discovery and also areas of surrender that feels like you're surrendering enough, but you're not surrendering who you are. So it is in time that you are going to want to be centered in creating new chapters after you say goodbye to the old and false narratives that some have been maybe holding on to a little bit too hard. Also, for this solar eclipse, this is a time for the zodiacs to pay attention to self and also the area of movement that feels right with their intuition and also feels right with some of the action that they are making surrounding their own self process. I'm going to do a quick little reading for each of the zodiacs, and then also we're going to do a little bit of a I guess you could say a little bit of a tarot reading journal type of journal prompts. So each journal prompt is going to be aligned with a tarot card. So for the fire signs, this is definitely a time for you to look at a whole new version of yourself. And if you are a fire sign, that means that you're an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. It's going to be time for you to take action, leap towards personal experiences, and also shed some of that self-doubt. Fully embrace your leadership, your passion. You're going to definitely want to watch out because you might be feeling a little bit impatient, or you might be feeling very impulsive, especially if you are an Aries. We have to remember that this energy of eclipses is going to be affecting the Aries definitely, and the other cardinal signs. Also, we'll see a lot of movement with some of the Virgos and also the Pisces, as we do have the North Node aligned in Pisces and the South Node aligned in Virgo. So that eclipse is happening right on the nodes. What to watch for is definitely to watch for Mercury retrograde causing some confusion for all of us, but really with the center of the fire signs, especially with the Aries, and also to have that area of influence, right? So your dreams and your creative process and your love life might feel a little bit affected, but we have to remember that fantasies sometimes feel a little bit too real, and dreams sometimes feel a little bit too present. And it's going to be a time that you're going to want to clear some of that energy out. So remember to trust your fire. Remember to trust your intuition, to trust your initiative and your courage, and create new steps around what it is that is centered around you. For the water signs, if you're a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, this is a time that you are going to let go of the past. I want you to let go of those past versions of you and really take some time around healing and creating some areas of allowing the emotional weight of the past that keeps coming back up, allowing that area to clear away. Definitely do some water rituals. You're going to be centered on a little bit of more self-empowerment. Maybe practice some stoicism. I love stoicism. It takes a lot of practice, but it is such a talent once you get it down. Also, you are going to want to look at areas of over romanticizing the past or getting lost in the area of fantasy of the past. So we have to remember that sometimes the past is the past for a reason, and we don't necessarily need to go back there, or we don't need to be so aligned in that energy. For the earth signs, if you are an earth sign, you are a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, this is a time you're going to want to concentrate on your shift around your career, health, and also personal ambitions. So this is more kind of like a center of your foundation and also your areas of roles and owning that role. So if that is being centered in your own new personal title or creating a new title, maybe getting on a more balanced health regimen, that's going to be something that you're going to want to look at, reflect on, and start to create subtle intentions. What you also want to watch for is overanalyzing, especially as we have all this movement, especially with the South Node in Virgo, especially with this whole energy of the conjunction with the Neptune in Pisces and the area of relationships. So if you're overanalyzing stuff, it might be because you're overanalyzing stuff that isn't actually reality based. So it is a time that you're going to want to break away from that, and you might be overanalyzing some of your own insecurities and projecting them onto other people. So definitely let that energy go. You're going to want to push yourself more forward into the area of growth versus the area of constant reflection. Also, this is a time that you're going to want to get more spiritually connected, if that means meditating, if that means breath work, if that means more ritual baths, but you're going to use these energies around your career, health, and also personal attributes. Also, trust the process, right? Trust the process of creating the steps for your dreams to really come true, and allow yourself to still acknowledge the dreams, but to have steps that make those dreams turn into reality. For the air signs, if you are an air sign, you are a Gemini, a Libra, and Aquarius. So this is a time that you are going to want to express yourself. I mean, Aries is about that area of self, and I feel like air signs usually can express themselves quite well, but sometimes they forget to express the energy of self as well as they might like. So definitely communicate, express yourself, connect with the world, connect with your collective, but you're going to want to express yourself and some of your feelings, express what you've been going through, express your dreams, express what it is that you might be feeling a little bit of fear about, or express some of the energy that has been holding you back. So definitely start to express yourself. We have to watch out for miscommunication, as we do have this Mercury retrograde, kind of making it a little bit more difficult for us. But we're also going to remember that our words are very powerful, and our areas of movement are very powerful. So we're going to try to use our words very, very thoughtful before we begin to express ourselves, especially if we're expressing ourselves in a way that might be bringing some challenges to a collective group, because maybe we're feeling a little bit underappreciated, or we're feeling a little bit more like there's some obstacles that were created by others. We're going to want to take some deep breaths before we start to express ourselves in those patterns. And also remember that Venus Neptune influence, that our dreams and our subconscious patterns can be shifting, and we're going to want to pay attention to those symbols and how they have that area of expression that are formulated back to us. So for the keys of these elements: fire sign, take action; water sign, release that emotional baggage; and earth signs really start to create the groundwork, the small reflection steps to creating long-term success. And air signs are going to be centered around the throat chakra and areas of communication. So what we're going to do now is a little bit different than what we've ever done before. I'm going to tell each sign a tarot card. If you have a tarot deck, get out your deck and get the card. If you don't have a tarot deck, you can look at my deck and my cards to kind of get a visualization of what the card resembles and what the energy might mean to you. So for the fire signs, go ahead and grab the Knight of Swords. The message is that you are rushing towards goals with areas of determination, but be mindful that you are really thinking these things through. This card urges you to use strategy and also to take action. So some of the journal prompts that go with this card would be: what am I charging towards right now? And is this truly aligned with my highest path? Also, another journal prompt is: where in my life am I being impulsive rather than intentional? How can I balance my passion with patience? For the next zodiac, this will be the water signs. If you are a water sign, you're a Cancer, Scorpio, and a Pisces. The card I want you to pull is the Moon. The message that you are feeling is your intuition is speaking to you, but are you truly listening? The Moon reveals secrets, illusions, and areas of subconscious fears. This eclipse is a time to trust your inner wisdom and not be centered around confusion. So let go of the area of those rose-colored glasses. Also, your journal prompts include: what fears or doubts have been clouding my judgment? How can I deepen my relationship with my intuition? What truth have I been avoiding, and how can I face it? For the earth signs, the card I want you to pull is Knight of Pentacles. And this card represents a slow, steady win for the race. The Knight of Pentacles reminds you that your dedication and discipline will pay off, but patience is required. This eclipse is about planting small seeds for long-time success. Your journal prompts include: what long-term goals am I committed to? And how can I stay consistent? Where in my life do I need a cultivated more patience? Also, how can I build a solid foundation for my future? For the air signs, the card I want you to pull is Ace of Swords. The message: a breakthrough moment is here. Clarity is on its way. This card signals powerful and new beginnings in the area of communication and also mental clarity. It is time to cut through the confusion of your own voice and also illusions. I want you to write these journal prompts out. What truth am I ready to speak, even if it is uncomfortable? Where in my life do I need a mental reset or fresh perspective? How can I sharpen my focus and eliminate distractions? The final message for this eclipse is really to take some areas of self-worth, take some areas of feeling in charge, feeling aligned with your own destiny, allowing yourself to trust your intuition, also to face some of the hidden truths or the secrets or lies that could come up during this time. Also, to close certain chapters that haven't been feeding your process of your own mental well-being, and to let go of certain elements that have been holding you back. Also, to speak your truth and to embrace the area of clarity. I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, share this with your witchy bestie. Bye.